everybody, thanks for tuning into today's video. Well, we've got some problems this morning for next week's weather. The change to much warmer, summery conditions that I've been talking about looking a bit dodgy, I'm afraid, this morning. And the problem really is, but problem that's been with this pattern all the way along, the high pressure out to the west of the country. If you have high pressure out to the west, very often it allows the jet stream to dig southwards, and if that jet stream digs southwards enough and is close enough to us, then it can bring unsettled weather with the high pressure out to west. Of course, with high pressure to the west, with winds going anti-clockwise around that high pressure, will always be coming from the west or from the north, so it's also never going to be all that warm. To get a really hot summery spell of weather, you need to hook that high pressure across the country and then set it up to the east. So we're going to start this morning with the height anomaly chart. We've got the GFS here on the left, I've got the ECMWF, I should say, on the left, the GFS is on the right. I won't give you the explanation of how this works, but what you need to know is that the red area here, the orange and red area, is above average heights, it's high pressure, and we can see that the ECMWF has that high pressure centre to the west of the country. Now notice the lines here, the lines report, they are indicating where the jet stream is, and the jet stream is going up around the top of that high pressure and then coming southwards, and it's coming southwards right over the top of the British Isles. So that means that we are running the risk of bringing some little troughs and little features around the top of that high pressure and dumping it down over the top of the country. Now, if we have a look at the GFS, we can see that the GFS is actually even worse. The height anomaly chart from the GFS model is indicating that the high pressure is even further north and west from the British Isles, and we have got a little trough of low pressure here to the south. Now, this is for 8 to 10 days time, so this is next Friday through to next Sunday. And what's happened here is that the high pressure has been so far to the west that it's allowed a trough of low pressure to come down from the north, and in 8 to 10 days time that trough is actually sitting just to the south of the country. But that's come across the whole of the country and brought unsettled weather. So this is quite an unsettled looking chart actually. This is right in the period we was expect to have a big area of high pressure dominating the weather, but this is quite unsettled looking height anomaly. Really not very good news if you're hoping for summery weather. So the GFS ensembles are showing that at the moment we are below average. The lines are, this is average, this red line here, the lines are under a red line, so we're below average. The temperatures will be picking up over the weekend and into next week, so we do go above average. It does become very warm in the south for a time next week, but those lines quickly coming back down towards average and then going below average again once we get through to the end of July. The 29th of July here is that the temperature's going below average. So this warmer period doesn't last very long. It is certainly being shortened, this period that the above average temperatures last for. This is the ensemble for London, by the way. For precipitation, these are the precipitation spikes, and we do get a drier few days during this above average period here where the precipitation spikes disappear. But then those precipitation spikes are beginning to come back once we get beyond the 25th. Now, it's not too many of them for London, but if we have a look at Manchester, we can see we've got quite a few precipitation spikes showing up here for next week, and that above average period with the temperatures is even less, and that temperatures quickly come down to average. We're back down to average by around the 25th of July. So you're just looking at 2 or 3 days of above average temperatures for northern parts of the country, if this is right. 4 or 5 perhaps for the more southern counties. The temperature anomaly for the next week, Friday the 20th of July to Friday the 27th, showing temperature anomalies actually slightly below average. Now, if we're going to get a big area of high pressure setting up, you would expect these anomalies to be going above average, but that's not happening. The temperature anomalies here are showing average. So if those reports in the papers this morning that are suggesting temperatures are going to get into the 90s Fahrenheit over the weekend and next week, it's absolute rubbish. There's no evidence for it whatsoever. It's not going to get hot next week. It may get warm to very warm, but temperatures into the 90s, it's not going to happen on the evidence this morning. Now have a look at the precipitation anomalies. Precipitation anomalies for the next week, Friday the 20th to Friday the 27th, showing up around average here, a little bit above average actually, precipitation anomalies in the south. We'll have a look at the reason for that in a moment. So these are the facts charts for the start of the coming week, and this is for Sunday, and we can see that we've got this big area of low pressures we always was going to have out in the Atlantic, and we're bringing in these westerly winds across the country. This warm front here, we're taking a lot of cloud across the country, I think, on Sunday. So Sunday is going to be one of the nice days of the week. It still will be reasonably warm, I think, but there will be a lot of cloud around. There'll be rain in the northwest, so I expect quite a cloud down Sunday, but nevertheless it shouldn't be too bad for barbecues. Now Monday we've got this cold front trailing across northern England, and that's going to be bringing persistent rain and cloud for northern England. Sunshine and showers to the north of that with this westerly wind. For southern areas, I think Monday will be a decent day. It'll be warm, very warm actually, with some sunny spells. Temperatures possibly up to around 27 degrees. Monday will be nice for southern areas. That front is still there across northern England on Tuesday, so again we can expect a very disappointing start to the period for northern England, I'm afraid. A lot of cloud, there will be some showery rain around as well. These southern parts of the country, again, not having too bad a day on Tuesday. There will be some sunny spells, but I expect cloud to be coming down from the north. And then beyond this, we have a look at the generic charts from the GFS model, and we've got very slack gradients here for Wednesday, so I think we could well be setting up some showers for southern areas on Wednesday. Some of those could be quite heavy, and keep an eye on this area of low pressure to the south of Iceland as we run through these charts. Well, there's the heavy showers possible across southern parts of the country on Wednesday. Could be very wet in the south on Wednesday, unfortunately, if this model is right. And then this trough from the north will start to fade down across the country. Here it comes through Thursday into Friday, the trough pushing down, so that by Saturday the trough is actually across southern areas. That'll be taking rain across all parts of the country, and that is then followed by an area of high pressure to the north, and that will be bringing in cooler air from the north as well. The ECMWF model has the high pressure centre to the west. There's that low pressure around Iceland on Thursday. Going into Friday, that low pressure sinks around the top of the high pressure, and the high pressure is pulling out to the west of the country. And then going into a Saturday, well, the high pressure is still to the west of the country. This model, the ECM, keeps the trough more or less to the east actually, but it wouldn't take much of an adjustment to bring that trough right down across the country, and that would turn it much more unsettled. The Canadian is a bit better. That's got the high pressure more centred to the east. As ever, the GEM is a little bit different, but I'm not sure we can take that too seriously. But if we run through the chart, the GEM actually looks quite nice, really. It's the best model of the morning, with high pressure much more centred towards the British Isles and keeping those troughs running away to the north and to the east. But as ever, the Canadian model is a little bit different, and I'd tend to go with the ECM and the GFS. So all in all, things are looking rather uncertain for next week's improvements now. Now, southern parts of the country will improve. We can say that with a good deal of certainty. There will be warm and sunny weather for central southern parts of England and Wales, Monday and Tuesday in particular. Particularly Monday looks a nice day. But for northern areas, there's not much of an improvement going on here, I'm afraid. We've got a weather front strung out across northern England through the first part of next week. That's going to be bringing cloud and persistent rain. Then once we get through to the last stage of next week, we could well bring a trough around that high pressure caught up in the jet stream, and that could bring unsettled weather right way across the country just at the time when it's supposed to be settling down. So warmer, yes, next week, but perhaps not particularly settled, and certainly no sign of any heat wave. If you, as I say, if you've read in the paper this morning, temperatures getting up to 90 Fahrenheit, it's not going to happen. Temperatures will be much lower than that, just into the mid-70s Fahrenheit, perhaps, if we're lucky. Well, that's it for now. I'll be doing a 7-day forecast tomorrow, so come back for that, but that's it for now. Thanks for watching.